The sea has always occupied a special place in human consciousness, representing both a source of life and a symbol of death. From creation myths to modern scientific understanding, the ocean has shaped how we view existence. Life and death are intertwined with the forces of nature, and that water, the most essential element, may be the thread that weaves together our beginnings, our glories, and our inevitable ends. Many cultures have believed that life began in the sea. In the Greek creation myth, Oceanus was seen as the source of all water and life. The Babylonians believed the primordial waters birthed the world, while the Chinese mythology references the goddess Nuwa creating human beings from mud along the sea's edge. This connection between life and water was not just spiritual but also practical. Early civilizations flourished near rivers, oceans, and seas, dependent on the bounty these waters provided. Modern science supports these ancient beliefs. Studies show that life on Earth likely originated in the ocean around 3.5 billion years ago. The chemical makeup of seawater, rich in minerals and nutrients, provided the ideal conditions for the first single-celled organisms to form. This primordial sea was both the cradle of life and the harbinger of complex ecosystems that evolved over eons, leading to the development of all life forms we know today. The sea brought us into existence in a real, biological sense. From a psychological perspective, the ocean represents the subconscious, the unseen forces that shape our desires, fears, and ultimate mortality. Carl Jung saw water as a symbol of the unconscious mind, a vast and mysterious expanse that humans can never fully understand or control. Just as the depths of the ocean remain largely unexplored, the complexities of the human mind are often elusive. This comparison between the sea and the human psyche highlights the deep connection between the physical world and our inner experiences. The shells upon graves, as referenced in the quote, symbolize our return to the sea, our inevitable death. Shells, once the homes of living creatures from the sea, are left behind when life departs. Similarly, our physical bodies, once animated by consciousness, will one day return to dust, or in this case, to the metaphorical and perhaps literal waters from which we came. This acknowledgement of death can be terrifying but also profoundly freeing. Existential philosophy, particularly the works of Heidegger and Sartre, remind us that recognizing our mortality is essential for understanding the meaning of life. The sea, as a symbol of both life and death, encourages us to confront this duality with humility. The sea has always been a symbol of eternal cycles. The ancient Greeks considered it an example of the physis, a natural principle of change and constancy. The tides, constantly in motion yet predictable, reflect the cyclical nature of life, growth, decay, and rebirth. Heraclitus famously said, "You cannot step into the same river twice, because the waters are ever changing, just as time and life itself." The phrase, "the sea brought us, the sea shall take us back," echoes this idea of eternal return. If we consider life as a brief moment in an endless flow, our individual existences are temporary manifestations of a much larger cycle. Nietzsche, in his philosophy of eternal recurrence, emphasized that life repeats itself in cycles, an unending loop of birth, death, and rebirth, much like the waves that lap against the shore, retreat, and return again. The shells upon graves symbolize this continuity. Shells, once part of the sea's creatures, are left behind on land when their lives end, just as humans return to the earth. They stand as a testament to both the glory of life, their beauty and intricacy honed by nature, and the inevitability of death, a reminder that all must return to the great cycle of existence. The importance of water to life cannot be overstated. About 71% of the Earth's surface is covered in water, and over 60% of the human body is composed of it. The United Nations reports that water shortages already affect more than 40% of the world's population, demonstrating our fragility when it comes to this life-giving resource. This points to a paradox. While water is essential for survival, it is also a destructive force. Tsunamis, floods, and hurricanes remind us of nature's terrifying power to reclaim what it has given. Water is the means by which human civilization has thrived, oceans facilitate trade, rivers nourish agriculture, and clean water sustains life itself. Yet, it is also capable of destruction and decay. In a poetic sense, the shells on graves remind us of this precarious balance. The same element that sustains us can just as easily take us back, returning us to the ocean from which we came. The sea, with all its power and mystery, offers a fitting metaphor for the human condition. It symbolizes life's origin, the unconscious mind, and the inevitable return to nature. The shells upon our graves serve as reminders of this journey. Our time on earth is but a brief moment between the infinite cycles of creation and destruction. Confronting our connection to the sea helps us understand the cyclical nature of life and death, while statistically, it underscores our dependence on the very element that will one day reclaim us. The sea, which brought us into being, will one day take us back. In its ebb and flow, we find the essence of life's impermanence, our fleeting glories, and our final demise. And in the shells upon our graves, we glimpse both the beauty of life and the inevitability of death, tied together by the water that sustains and ultimately reclaims us all.